Okay, so today's tomato review is going to be on this tomato right here, and this is called the Solanum peruvianum or peruvianum. I'm not exactly sure how you pronounce that, but it's basically a wild version of the tomato that grows in Peru. They don't grow North America at all. This tomato is not native to any other part of the world other than generally Peru and maybe some of the surrounding countries nearby Peru. And there's several varieties of tomatoes that, from what I understand, haven't even really been documented. But this is one of the varieties that's semi-common. You can actually find seeds for this online. In general, this tomato has two variations of it. They're not different species, they're just different variation. One is a self-compatible variation and the other is a self-incompatible version. I'm not 100% sure how you would tell the difference between the two, but I'm pretty sure that the self-incompatible version is very rare that it creates a fruit that'll have seed in it. And I'm almost inclined to think that what you're looking at here is a incompatible version. So it very well could be. But I did order seed for the self-compatible version, but I may have gotten the self-incompatible version instead. There's no other way to really check it, I guess, unless you check chromosomes or something, but I don't know. All I know is I got this. This is the wild Peruvian tomato. Should try to give you an idea what it looks like. Hopefully that's showing up on the camera. Alright, I can show you back here a little bit. I'm going to take photos of all this stuff and maybe put them at the end of the video. Here's another one. You can see how they get spots on it and they kind of start getting purplish color when they're really exposed to light. These really do get a lot of purpling on one side of them. But if they're not grown in direct sunlight, you're not going to get that purpling effect. But you will get a lot of this speckles and spots when they're really mature and ready to be eaten. So, if you look at my earlier videos on this particular plant, I shot a few videos of the Solanum peruvianum, and if you look at how big that plant actually got, this is about all I yielded back here. I'm not sure. Can you see all of this stuff back here? Right here, all of this. It's really not that much off a plant that was as big as it was. This plant literally put out thousands of flowers. I'm talking thousands, guys. Thousands of flowers. And yet, all I got out of those, maybe 10,000 flowers, was barely what you see right here. That's it. That was all of what I got. Now, on the flip side of that is it did put out quite a few bracts like this. You can see this bract right here. This is a common bract that was coming off it. So you might say, oh, you got tons of tomatoes in there. You can get your seeds. The problem with this is that these fruits are runts, meaning that the fruits did not produce any seed. So they're just berries, seedless berries is what they are. And most common, a lot of them were dropping like this on that plant, really small size. And even one yet further is a lot of the plants were, at one point, just simply, these little fruits were turning brown like this. And when they turn brown like that, they're basically fermenting. They're rotting away. They're not even really edible at that point unless you want to get drunk from it, and maybe you can do that. But basically, all these smaller tomatoes, as you can see on here, I mean, I will open up quite a few of these just to see if any seeds did form in them. But quite a few of those, there's absolutely no seed in them. There's really nothing I can do about that. That's just the way it rolls with this particular variety of tomato. I'm hoping that the larger varieties do have seeds in it. I'm pretty confident it will. But one of the reasons for the low germination rate is the stamen, or the male part of the flower. That little center part sticks out way past that cone that's in the middle of the tomato flower. It sticks all the way out past there, and the anthers on the inside really trap in all the flower, so, the pollen to the flower. So because of that reason, this plant is very difficult for it to self-produce. Now, it's some kind of a genetic anomaly, or Has it always been that way? I don't know. But I can tell you that that's part of the reason why this particular tomato is very difficult for it to actually make viable tomatoes to reproduce itself. So that might be why this tomato is actually kind of on the rare side. This particular tomato variety is an extremely aggressive tomato variety. I do not recommend growing it in a greenhouse. This is an outdoor plant. This plant actually needs to be grown in full direct sunlight from the time the sunrise breaks the horizon all the way to the time it sets. It needs full sun. If you give this plant 100% full sun in direct sunlight with the full sun spectrum light, this plant will probably do a lot better. It's not going to do really any better in any other condition. It's an outdoor plant. Forget about trying to grow it in a greenhouse. You can winter it over, keep it alive like I'm going to do, and then bring it out, but you got to plant it out in full sun, or else you're just going to end up with a problem very similar to what I have. So these berries are generally edible. The tomatoes themselves, if you want to call them tomatoes, they are edible, but I have read some stuff online that some of these wild varieties of tomatoes, including this one, may have some associated toxicities with it. So we don't exactly know if there may or may not be toxicities to it. So it's very possible there could be. Got to be real careful with this particular tomato. And there were a few times I ate these tomatoes and I get like a slight tingling on my tongue. That's a very sensitive thing I trained my tongue to do when I'm stuff that may be toxic. So when I get that tingling effect, I kind of know to back off it because there may be toxicities associated with it. As far as like waiting for them to ripen, they pretty much start to get like bone in color like this when they're really at their ripest point. But I've been trying to eat these berries at different stages. Like in this stage here where it's like ghostly white, as you can see. It looks ghostly white. That's the little berry that is left. So we're going to eat that and see what that tastes like, and I'll try to describe the flavor. Okay, that one was absolutely not edible at all because it was way before its ripe stage. So that was absolutely unedible. So don't even attempt to eat them unless they start to get that bone color in them. Here's one that's kind of on the bone side. Let's try that one. That one should be ripe enough for me to eat. Well, what I can say is it's very strange, the flavor. In some cases, because I've eaten these already before, in some cases you get more of a tomato flavor. In other cases, it's mostly berry flavor. This particular case, it was mostly berry flavored, but there is like a slight tone of tomato flavor in it. Now, I'm not saying it tastes like tomato. It tastes like a berry. It doesn't even taste like tomato, to be honest with you. Okay, so the good news is some of these bigger berries do have seeds in them. As you can see, there's some seeds in there. All right, so that's a good sign. I only have the smaller ones to cut for you. That's what that looks like right there. Now that's a smaller one. Okay, that's what the smaller ones look like. Now you can see there's no seeds in it. It's basically a runt. Okay, so that's what that looks like. Now, the only one I see with seeds is this one. And I can pick the one seed out. We don't want to lose that one. And we'll do a taste test on it. Forget about doing the bricks. I don't have enough for me to really fool around with bricks. But I'll bite this off the stem and we'll see what it tastes like fully ripened with seeds. Like I said, even like with the early ones, it has a type of berry flavor, almost like strawberry or a raspberry, but not the intensity of that flavor. Very slightly like some kind of a berry. Or even you could even say the sunberries, if you ever eat those. It might taste something like that, those sunberries, with a little bit of a tomatoey, tangy flavor to it. It's a very strange combination of flavors. Very sweet too. This tomato is very, very sweet. It's sugary. It's not like tomato sweet, the sweetness in a tomato. It's not that kind of sweetness. This kind of sweetness is really berry type sugar sweetness, like the sweetness you would get from eating a blackberry or a raspberry, that real sugary sweetness flavor. That is what this is like. It almost don't even taste like tomato. It's just, I can taste some of the wild tomato flavor in it. That's the only reason why I would say I can taste tomato. Outside of that, it tastes nothing like a tomato. Completely different in flavor. It's a very interesting flavor. I wouldn't necessarily say I wouldn't recommend growing it, but that's not why you would want to grow this plant. You'd want to grow this tomato more or less for the novelty of it and simply to see how you can adjust this plant to your environment and see if maybe it'll grow like a perennial even through winter. Who knows what this plant is actually capable of doing. But I can tell you right now that this isn't going to be an easy plant for you to propagate and get seed from unless you grow it outdoors. Maybe then it might grow a little bit more, but I so far haven't had much luck. Well, I have been growing it outdoors, but you need to do that very early in the season. This plant can live for many years, so it's like a tree. You can't grow it with the mindset of an annual. You got to grow it with the mindset of like you're growing a tree, and that's how you got to approach this thing. You can bring it in for the winter and whatnot. But really, that's about it, guys. I mean, I don't know what else to say about it. Gave you a quick idea on what it tastes like. Here's some of the brack again. This is your typical, what you're going to get off these. Once you start to get bone and color, they're very sweet and edible. You can't eat them. There's not going to be any seeds in them. And that's really all I can say about the Solanum peruvianum, or peruvianum. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, guys. And I'll see you on the next one.